think there's a new generation who's only seen war in television programs and war films, and they, I don't know why war always looks glamorous, but it is. So they have no idea at all what they're talking about. This is a very good scenario for self-righteousness and for slogans, and it makes my blood run cold because I've lived through it more than once, and it's very powerful, and it takes people over, and then people stop thinking. They just chant slogans, and this is what's so frightening about it.
I mean, you write very caustically about the power of the ism, you know, whether it's the communism, feminism, unfocused idealism, journalism. Do you think that an ism is an intrinsically suspicious thing?
Yes, I do, rather. I think we're always making categories and fitting people and things into it that don't necessarily belong there at all. As for the idealisms, you know, Hitler was an idealist. Have you ever heard his plans for a 1,000-year Reich? Mussolini? And I have no doubt at all that good old Comrade Stalin had moments of idealism, not very many. But as for Lenin, of course, that old murderer.
But why do we want them so much, do you think?
Oh, you see, we love powerful people, unfortunately. We do. We do. We love powerful, strong men. Or a lot of people do who haven't actually experienced them.
Is it your disappointment in communism that has made you suspicious of all isms and all ideologies?
And it certainly helped. You know, the last part of the 50s, communism was beginning to, it was falling down like the Twin Towers in New York before our very eyes, and that was very, very extraordinary to watch and to live through.
The most loathsome character, I think, in your new book is the communist, who is a very sound comrade, but an absolute pig of a person.
Well, you know, there were an awful lot of them around.
You knew some? You knew many?
Of course, I was married to one for a time. The communist little mini commissars, they were everywhere. And they were all like that. They were unbelievably dogmatic.
Did you know that at the time, or this is like looking
back?
Oh,
yes, I did know that. You know, I had to fight my way out. You try being married to 150% communist. It really is something you don't forget.
Is it getting harder to speak your mind or easier, do you think?
Easier. No one's going to put you into prison at the moment for speaking your mind or banning you. Luckily, I'm not a Muslim in this country. They're having a bad time.
Yet when you spoke your mind about feminism, the cry that went up, the shouting, you were an evil woman, Doris Lessing.
Yes, I know. Well, half of what I was supposed to have said I didn't say. But people love a chance to be righteously indignant, and I gave them that.
So what did you actually say?
What I actually said, what I was on about, was this culture where men are automatically rubbished. I really hate it. We now have a culture where it's a part of the language, advertisements, radio programs, the putting down of men. And I said it was time this came to an end. But I don't think it was that made people furious.
Well, that was the thing that made the front page in Australia, I have to say.
Really?
Yes, it was that you had said that the most stupid, ill-educated, nasty woman can rubbish the nicest, kindest, most intelligent man, and no one protests.
Exactly. And I did say that.
That is what you said.
I stand by it, absolutely. You know, when I was young, and I was this brash girl, I was always tackling some man saying, "Why are you patronising me? I'm not some stupid little woman." Now, they never had any idea what I was talking about because it's a part of the culture. What's she on about? Well, now women do it and don't even know that they're doing it. And I don't see why we should become as bad as they were, and some of them still are. I find it's shocking. The thing that, when it really got to me, I was in a school and I saw, a 9 and 10 years old, history, and there was this feminist teacher telling these kids that wars throughout history were because men were naturally violent. Now, you can imagine the scene. The little girl, so smug and pleased with themselves, and the boy is cowering and embarrassed. And I thought, this is going on through our schools. No wonder the little boys are doing so badly in school if they've got women who put them down all the time.
Why do you think, what is the motive that you perceive why feminists are putting men down, why they're treating them in a cruel or inferior way?
Well, they've been put down for so long, so they're getting their own back. I think it's simple revenge, a lot of it. And also, I don't think they realise how very unpleasant they are. What a lot of bitches have been created by the women's movement. It really is frightening. But, you know, the thing that I really was on about in Edinburgh, I said that the whole of the 1960s movement had been a sexual revolution. It hadn't really done the situation of women much good. It was all great fun, God knows. But when I was a girl, I said I had a role model, a word that had not been created then, and she used to say to us, girls, go out and get yourself equal pay for equal work, equal opportunity, and good nurseries, and then you will be equal as men. Now, it is a long time in the women's movement since any of them have thought about changing laws or fighting, you know, boring old fighting in committees. Well, we don't do that anymore. We think it's absolutely wonderful if some girl has an exciting sexual life, and jolly good luck to her, but it doesn't change anything.
I actually must say there's a lovely moment in your book when you talk about a magazine editor who gets furious when she's told that the female mosquito is the one that transmits malaria, and she says, the shits, the fascists, this is terrible.
I didn't invent that.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Well, she felt it was actually a slander on the gender.
Exactly, yes.
So, okay, so you're saying the women who are winning the gender war or have won the gender war?
I don't know if it is a victory. It's the kids I'm concerned with. Boys who are having a very bad time. Now, you know, the men, I think they're having a bad time if they can fight for themselves. But the little kids can't, you know. I think women might remember that they might have a maternal instinct here or there and try and look after the little boys.
If you didn't have a son, would you feel it so deeply, do you think?
I've got a feeling I would, you know. I think so, yes.
Why is it, do you think, the feminists have been so keen to adopt you as one of their spokespeople anyway? Does it go
was the
right back
Golden
to
Notebook. That's why. That was read as a feminist tract when it first came out.
And it wasn't?
Well, I didn't think it was, because I see it as a historical document.
Is there an ism or an ideology that you hold to now, at 81?
Well, the only one I hold to is that people should think before they shout slogans.
Whatever the slogan is.
That's all. And you think that might be a small demand, but it isn't. Because look how easily people start shouting slogans.
As you get older, and one assumes wiser...
Oh, don't assume that.
No, not so.
No.
Older. Is it harder to be tolerant of the foolishness and the naivety of the young?
No, it's not. It's harder. It's just that you understand it so well, since you've done it all yourself. And it's a pity that they can repeat our follies, but apparently that is the plan of life. God knows why. Nobody ever learns from the preceding generation, but they don't.
But isn't that part of being young, being careless of history?
Well, we don't have to admire it, do we?
You were quoted recently as saying, writing is something I have to do. At 81, is it still?
I'm just a storyteller. I have to. I'm very unhappy when I'm not writing. I need to write. I think it's possibly some kind of psychological balancing mechanism, but that's not only true for writers, but for anybody. I think that we're all of us just a step away from lunacy anyway, and we need something to keep us balanced.
So this is your sanity?
Exactly.
Will you retain it? I mean, will you keep, not the sanity, the writing?
Yes, I'll go on, as long as I can.
You were offered a damehood, to become a dame. Why did you knock it back?
The Dame of the British Empire, right? I'm a good colonial by upbringing. I hated all that, and also I spent a good part of my youth trying to undo the British Empire, and there are very few more unimpressive sights than some old person licking the hand that it used to bite. So no, I said no. So then they said, would I like to be a companion of honour? Which I said yes to because I'm not called anything. I mean, how would you like to be called a dame, like a pantomime?
I think it's somewhat unlikely. Doris Lessing, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I've enjoyed it.